Goldie, the series Mithya that is currently streaming on Z5, it of course stars Paramprata Chatterjee, Huma Qureshi, and Bhagyashree's daughter Avantika Dasani. It's directed by Rohan Sippy, and you are one of the creators of the show. It's of course written by Purva Naresh and Althea Kaushal. How's the response that you're getting from the industry and the numbers from the platform?
Well, at the moment, it's very, very encouraging. Everybody's response has been positive, and people are actually loving it. And I'm very happy that it's been received so well. Also, because it's not your run-of-the-mill kind of thrillers. It's got its own pace and what is internationally known as a slow burn. So it's something that like nicely cooks and boils, and then it tastes very nice. So I think it's very like handcrafted, the whole show. So I'm very happy that it's been getting that kind of response it's been getting.
You are a showrunner on the show, but it never tempted you to don a director's hat.
Directing a series is a completely different ball game, and I believe, and I've learned also that it's very important, and it's far more collaborative than a feature film directorial venture. So as a showrunner, apart from like physically shooting it and working with the actors, you're as involved as anybody is creatively in the entire vision of the entire show. Fortunately for me, especially on this show, Rohan and me have been old colleagues and very dear friends. So it was actually quite an easy bait and passing. So I mean, that urge of actually creatively contributing to a product is, or to a story is really gets taken care of. And since I run a production house also. It's very difficult for me to be on set 24/7 and actually physically do that execution of it. So I've been very lucky to work with a talented director like Rohan on this.
Another very cool thing which I liked in the show is like you named the cat as Bhai Saab. What inspired that name?
Well, actually, it was the name that I inherited in the script from Avantika and Anvita and Althea. So in their first draft, I didn't get to work too much with them then. It was already there because it was like it's like a brother to the protagonist. And that's why the loss of the pet being as much as it does have on her. Being a pet parent myself, I understand the emotions that go behind bringing up sometimes like a child, sometimes like a sibling, so hence the name.
Out of the cast, which actors surprised you or you felt like really stood out?
It is a wonderful bunch of actors, Rajit and so well trained and so lovely, it's good to see all of them are, I mean, including Avantika, who's a newcomer, but working with the seasoned hands, it's such a pleasure to work with seasoned actors who really know their craft, their skill, know the language, the diction, the improvisations are within character and within mood. But of course, the obvious is Huma and Avantika. But the surprise for me personally, of course, it's not a surprise for the world, but for me personally was Param. And I really enjoyed his nuanced performance of a man who is living in a wife's shadow but wanting to break out of it, getting tempted but knows it's morally wrong but still getting tempted. I mean, just so many layers, portrayed in such little effort. Is so beautifully done by him. So he's a tremendous talent, and I just hope more and more he gets a chance to show his. I mean, of course, he's a big star in Kolkata and West Bengal, but I'm so happy that he's over here and he's doing a different kind of performance. So very nuanced. And that's what I really enjoyed. All their performances are very nuanced, and credit to the actors, and of course credit to Rohan as well to extract that performance from him.
He was very good in Kahani, but talking about the seasoned actors, you of course have worked with many seasoned actors. Just to understand, we often say directors say, when you're working with seasoned actors, you don't need to do anything much. You give them the dialogue and you see and enjoy the magic. Then what happened when you're shooting with them? Do a big actor or seasoned actor also require multiple takes, or with them it's only one or two takes when you're directing them?
See, my job as a showrunner pretty much ended at the readings, and actually communicating to them the characteristics. But I think if you're working with an intelligent actor, whether seasoned or not, you have to be on your toes as well, because they come with their interpretation of the role, and many times it's over-interpreted also, and it's going to a direction which is not necessarily looking at the overall story arc and the overall vision and the rhythm of the show. So the effort is there, but it's a different effort, and it's a much more enjoyable effort, because you're talking about the craft and the nuances and the thought behind the lines. And Baki, the number of takes is very subjective. It's not something that I would give too much of importance to. It's just the interpretation of the role that is more and more most important.
Do you wonder why stories set in colleges comes to you? Even Reject X is the series that you directed, also talks about students' life.
I don't know. I think it's just I exude that. I don't know, because I had a very successful run on campus shows even in the early 2000s with Remix. Pretty much pioneered that the genre in India. Then we did it again with the OTT on Rejects, which was also immensely successful. And now this is a different interpretation of the same campus life, but it's a toxic relationship between a student and a teacher. I don't know. I don't know whether the stories choose me or I choose them. So it's fine, but I'm still enjoying myself, and I still think there's far more. I was young at one time. Now I have a young son, so there's still more discovering happening of that. I find that age very interesting, because you're not fully formed in your mind, but you have to take some of your life's most important decisions. So there's a lot of dichotomy, and there's a lot of clash, internal clash with it, which I personally find very exciting.
Having made 2 shows talking about Gen Z, do you now understand both millennials and Gen Z better? And would you like to tell our viewers, how do you define the needs and aspirations of a millennial to somebody from Generation Z?
A millennial, according to me, and I'm neither, I don't know whether I'm a millennial also or no, but let me put it in a form of an example, how a millennial would react to a fake news, and how a Gen Z would react to fake news on, social media and stuff like that. So a millennial still gets affected by it, and either believes the fake news, or is morally disturbed at how could there be fake news, But a Gen Z who has grown up knowing that this exists, they don't give a damn about it. It's part of their system, So they always look at things from multiple angles, A lot of things that were a taboo for us while growing up are not a taboo, or are not even looked at as indulgences, by the younger generation, because they've just grown up with it, and they don't think that it's important, So they look at it very, very differently, So I don't know whether I've been able to communicate exactly what I've been trying to say, but that's what I feel, So they're very non-reactive to a lot of things, and what they're reactive to is something that I'm still trying to understand. I think that, while morality is very important for, millennial, identity is more important for Gen Z person, So I think that's the difference, and that's the shift, There's a debate over morality, and there's a debate over identity, So if you can differentiate between the two of them, I think that's the difference between both of them.
Your son Ranveer is a talented teenage budding filmmaker who represented India on the jury of Giffoni Film Festival, which was held in 2019 in Italy. He's this bright kid who's exposed to various cinemas. What type of conversation you have with Ranveer at home about movies? Is there a particular genre that you think he has more interest in or inclined towards?
Well, he's inclined towards mainstream films, and I'm happy to hear that. But he asked me a very simple question: that why aren't mainstream movies made better? And I didn't have an exact answer for that, because I haven't made a mainstream film for a very, very long time. So, but he's young, he's got his ideas, and I wish him all the best, you know, and I hope and pray that, you know, whatever he wants to do, he can be successful in that, you know.
You, of course, exposed him to many films.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, this lockdown was really great for us, you know. I mean, it's horrible to go into lockdown, of course, having said that. I got to spend a lot of time with him. You know, I got to expose him to a lot of other international directors. I got to expose him to a lot of, you know, Indian authors and, of course, Western authors. So it's been really great. And, we see movies by a director's name, and then, you know, we just follow all the movies that they made, you know, and then, you know, then he himself can, you know, differentiate between that. So he's somebody who really enjoyed The Year of the Dog, you know, and he also very much enjoyed Pushpa, you know. So he likes both, you know. So I just hope someday in life, if he can marry the two, it would be fantastic.
He would one day. But how's Sonali Bendra's health now?
Absolutely fine.
Yeah, you know, her
That's
battle with cancer really change you as a filmmaker and as a person. You, of course, put your film productions on hold, and you were with Sonali when she was fighting cancer. Has that impacted you as a human being as well?
Well, of course, you know, having almost lost your partner is a very trying circumstance, you know. And one does reflect and see what is important and what is not important in your life. And of course, there's a sense of focus, you know, which is you know, it just cuts out what is not important in your life, and you just understand who you are, what your limitations are. You know, you can't fight with God beyond a point, and you can't fight with medicine also beyond a point. So you know, that's really helped me in my personal life to become much more focused and much more limited in what my needs are, you know. So it's also, I feel happier, you know. God has been kind. There's been a lot of love showered on us and Sonali, and she's back to work, you know. She's coming up with her judging show, and she's going to be launching some OTT also she's working on. So I'm really happy that she's back to work and we're back on track.
Now, how do you see the future of entertainment in India? There's a streaming war going on now between even streaming platforms. Do you see filmmaking becoming more democratic and decentralized? Do you think the next decade would see cost-effective entertainment, and we'll see stories, filmmakers, even the films will be produced in the small centers across India?
So definitely, you know, it will become much more collaborative, especially when it comes to series, like I mentioned earlier. Films is still a director's medium, you know. So while series is more of a writer, producer, showrunner medium, you know, I think that differentiation, the sooner the people understand that, you know, the better it is for everybody. And that is the form of the making. But as far as the content goes, I mean, you know, I think the Indian film industry, the Hindi film industry has seen a big wake-up call by seeing the South Indian market and the Western market really, you know, taking over the whole theatrical business. You know? So we as Hindi filmmakers need to really pull up our socks and understand who we're making movies for and at what cost we are making them at. I haven't done a theatrical, and I'm planning to, but this is a big learning, and a big example is Pushpa right in front of you and Spider-Man. They both released on the same day. Both appeal to different audiences, and they both did exceedingly well. So I think that's a big wake-up call, and the sooner we understand that we stop making movies for the crowd between Andheri, Juhu, and Bandra, the better it is for all of us. You know.
They're also human beings, but thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.